Would like to start the meeting. I'll welcome everybody today. My name is President Emily Stevens. I call this regular board meeting of April 23rd, 2026 to order. The time is 5 o'clock. We will open with 1.01, our flag salute. The presentation of colors will be led by Western High School, ROTC, Cadet Joshua Rodriguez, Cadet David Carranza, Cadet Beatrice Solorzano Cardona, Cadet Maria you're going to have to forgive me, Toledo, and their instructor, United States Air Force Master Sergeant Marcus D. Johnson, Aerospace Science Instructor. Trustee Henry, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
As we welcome and we convene this meeting, under Nevada's open meeting law, we acknowledge the ancestral lands that we are on as the Nuwuvi Southern Paiute and affirm that Responsible governance includes ensuring tribal families are informed, supported, and engaged in their children's educational journeys. I will pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Saluting. You're messing up the key.
All right, before I open item 1.02, is there anyone who did not get a chance to complete a public speaker card? Public speaker card. If you'd like to speak, you'll have to fill out a card, and we have those up here at the front. Trustee Johnson will make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda with the following changes. Revised reference material has been added for item 3.09, non-renewal or probationary license contract. Revised reference material has been added for item 3.14, capital improvement contract awards, section D. Geotechnical services for L&M Smith Elementary School. And then finally, additional reference material has been added for item 4.01, recommendation to close Good Springs Elementary School and zoning for Good Springs Elementary School to Sandy Valley Elementary School.
Do I have a second? Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President, and I will second that motion.
Great. Let's vote. Technical difficulties, 1 second. Trustee Bustamante? Adams?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you. Now we move on to item 2.01, student reports.
Madam President and members of the board, Kirsten Sear for the record. Tonight we are happy to have 3 students with us, and we're really excited to let you get to know these outstanding students. We have a student from Bonanza High School, Julian Diaz Chavez, who's a senior, representing Trustee Biasotti from District E and Trustee Johnson from Las Vegas. We have a student from the College of Southern Nevada High School East Campus, Tiffany Ortega, also a senior, representing Trustee Henry in District C and Trustee Barone in North Las Vegas. And finally, we have a student from Rancho High School, Layla Driscoll, also a senior, representing Trustees Zamora in District D and Trustee Barone in North Las Vegas. So please join me in welcoming our student speakers, and we will start with Julian Diaz Chavez.
Good evening, Superintendent Ebert and members of the board. My name is Julian Diaz Chavez, and I am a senior at Bonanza High School in Western Las Vegas, Trustee District E. I am honored to represent my school this evening and to share everything the student body has achieved thus far. I would like to begin with the accomplishments of our student council. Bonanza High School had 6 leadership students selected to present at a national leadership conference in Washington, D.C. Their platform reached students across the United States as they presented on raising student voice and participation. In November, our student council had the honor of hosting the mid-level conference, where all middle school student councils were invited to Bonanza for a day of leadership activities. Over 600 students from around the valley came to our school to learn. Councils left energized and ready to spread their skills to their own student bodies. This winter, our wrestling team sent 11 boys and girls to the state championship. They trained hard both in and out of season, and their dedication pays off. Bonanza had its first female wrestler take first place in regionals, and she went on to place second in the state championship. Bonanza also sent 9 boys to state, with one taking second place in a tough overtime match. This past Saturday, the Bonanza West Coast Bengals Army JROTC drill team won second place overall and first place unarmed drill team overall at the CCSD Drill Championship at Rancho High School. The drill team practices tirelessly year-round, every morning for an hour before first period, as well as 6-hour Saturday practice held once a month, and Tuesdays through Thursdays for 2 hours. The West Coast Bengals unarmed drill team is a Division I team at the National High School Drill Team Championship held annually at Daytona Beach, Florida. Bonanza High School is the only school in the western mainland United States to compete Division I at this prestigious competition. The team is set to compete at the NHS DTC next weekend, representing not just Nevada, but the western mainland United States as a whole. These accomplishments reflect the dedication, hard work, and exceptional leadership of Bonanza High School students, both in and out of the classroom. On behalf of Bonanza High School, we thank you for all your support to help our students grow and succeed. We are proud to represent Trustee District E in the CCSD community. Thank you for your time this evening.
Great job, Julian. And I'd like to acknowledge that Julian's principal, Dr. Wiseman, is here to support him tonight. And next we have Tiffany Ortega.
Madam President, members of the board, superintendent, distinguished guests, and for the record, Tiffany Ortega, a College of Southern Nevada high school senior. I stand before you today not just as a student, but as someone who has experienced what it means to be part of a school that truly believes in opportunity, discipline, and student leadership. The College of Southern Nevada High School in North Las Vegas is more than a place where we attend classes. It is a dual-credit, college-integrated environment where students are expected to rise to the real academic rigor while still being fully supported. At CSNHS North, we are not just working towards a high school diploma, we are already earning college credit through CSN coursework and building momentum towards our futures. And the results speak for themselves. CSNHS North has maintained a 100% high school graduation rate for over 10 years. That is not luck. That is consistency, structure, and a culture that refuses to let students fall behind. Even more powerful, this year, 90% of my graduating class is graduating with their associate's degree. That means most of us are leaving high school not just prepared for college, but already partway through it. What actually makes CSNHS truly unique is how it pushes students to be everything at once and actually gives us the tools to do it. For me personally, that meant balancing a schedule that most people would call impossible. While maintaining my academic standing at CSNHS, I also continued attending Army JROTC at Cheyenne High School as battalion commander. In that role, I wasn't just participating, I was leading. I was responsible for guiding cadets, enforcing standards, and representing a program built on discipline, service, and accountability. At the same time, I was a triathlete, pushing my limits in endurance sport and competing in wrestling, track, and volleyball. Each sport demanded time, energy, and mental toughness, but CSNHS taught me how to manage pressure, prioritize responsibilities, and stay committed even when everything is happening at once. Beyond athletics and JROTC, I also served as junior class president at CSNHS. That role gave me the opportunity to represent my peers, plan events, and make sure that student voices were actually being heard. Leadership here isn't just a title, it is something you practice every single day. I was also deeply involved in DECA, where I became the school's first state champion and served as vice president of leadership. DECA pushed me into real-world thinking, business communication, and problem-solving, presenting under pressure, and leading teams. It taught me confidence in professional spaces long before college or career. All of these experience, academic, athletic, and leadership base came together because CSNHS creates space for students to grow in multiple directions at once. We are not forced to choose one identity, we are encouraged to build all of them. And the biggest benefit of CSNHS is the head start. We are learning time management at a college level while still in high school. We are balancing CSN work, extracurriculars, and leadership roles like full-time professionals in training. But what stands out most is the culture. At CSNHS, excellence is expected, but so is support. Teachers push us because they know what we are capable of. Staff guide us through challenges that feel overwhelming at times. And students constantly motivate each other to go further, do more, and aim higher. Looking back, I can confidently say CSNHS North didn't just prepare me academically. It shaped me into a leader, an athlete, and somebody who understands responsibility under pressure. As I move forward, I carry everything I learned here: discipline from JROTC, resilience from SWORDS, confidence from DECA, and leadership from student government, plus the academic foundation of earning college credit while still in high school. I am incredibly proud to be a CSNHS senior because this school didn't just tell students they can succeed, it proves it every single day through opportunity, rigor, and trust in student potential. It is thanks to CSNHS that I can stand here today and say that I was appointed to the U.S. Naval Academy, U.S. Military Academy West Point, and a NROTC scholarship recipient to Yale University. And I can stand proud saying that I'm committed to USNA and playing D1 women's rugby come fall. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, and superintendent for supporting a school that turns students into graduates who are already ready for what comes next. For the record, Tiffany Ortega. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Tiffany's principal, Mrs. Machin, is here to support her tonight. And so is her stepfather, Christian, and her counselor, Ms. Purcell. And last but certainly not least, we have Layla Driscoll from Rancho High School.
Good evening, members of the school board, president, and Superintendent Ebert. My name is Layla Driscoll. I represent District D, and I am a senior at Rancho High School, and I am honored to share with you the many accomplishments and highlights of Rancho over the past years. To start, I would like to commemorate both the aviation and medical magnet programs offered at Rancho. In the 2025 to 2026 school year, Rancho's magnet program was recognized as a top school of excellence, which is only bestowed upon 3 chosen schools in CCSD. This recognized Rancho as among the top 5% of magnet schools nationwide. This was not the only accomplishment for the magnet program, however, as the aviation program's engineering branch also won the Real World Design Challenge in the school years 2023 to 2024 and 2024 to 2025, making it a 3-time world champion of this challenge. On the other side of the Rancho Magnet programs, the medical program has offered students not only real-time experience in different areas like shadowing athletic trainers, paramedics, and UNLV med students, but also exposure to multiple different places for potential medical careers, such as places like Southern Hills Hospital and AMR, colleges like UNLV, Nevada State University, and CSN for athletic training and pre-med, and finally, educational exhibits like the Bodies exhibit at the Luxor. Additionally, Rancho's Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America organization, FCCLA, had many notable achievements in just this school year. At this year's FCCLA State Leadership Conference, Rancho had multiple members who were declared gold medalists, as well as many national qualifiers for different categories. Our gold medalists were awarded in the culinary, AI for impact, and personal finance categories. Our national qualifiers advanced to nationals to represent the culinary category, AI for impact, food innovations, interior design, leadership, national programs, and personal finance. In addition to these individual accomplishments, Rancho's FCCLA as a whole had a couple highlights during this competition. Rancho earned first place in Nevada for most community service hours, as well as first and second place in national programs. Furthermore, Rancho prides itself on being a school that provides many diverse opportunities and chances for students to find what they enjoy and where they belong. In addition to sports, Rancho offers over 48 different clubs, 25 elective courses that are both on-course and AP level, as well as 5 CTE course programs. Each of these classes range from a single to 4-year programs, giving students the opportunity to truly dive into areas that they find passion in and where they belong. According to our panorama data from this past year, students' sense of belonging has Student sense of belonging has increased by 7% since the start of the school year. Also, 88% of Rancho students report having a supportive relationship on campus, a 4% increase from the start of the school year and higher than the district average of approximately 86%. Every student who attends Rancho becomes part of our Rancho family. Through our top-notch magnet programs, excelling clubs and courses, welcoming and understanding staff, and diverse student body, Rancho creates a lasting, positive impact on anyone who walks through our halls. Thank you.
Thank you, Layla. Layla's principal, Dr. Smith, is here to support her tonight. And we're also joined by Layla's mother, Lorraine, and Layla's father, Brad. And thank you. That concludes our reports.
I'll open it up for discussion. Trustee Biasotti?
Thank you, Madam President. Julian, you have so much to be proud of. Congratulations. Bengal cats are known for being vocal and active, and you've done that from representing us in our nation's capital to the whole Western Hemisphere. So congratulations to you and to your parents and your principal. Great job. I do have one question. What would you say was your biggest motivator?
Thank you, Trustee. I think my biggest motivator is, it's very cliche, but it's probably my parents. I am a first-generation student, and Bonanza High School, it's not exactly a private school. We're not exactly in the best area, and we don't have the most funding, but nevertheless, I try to look out and find all the opportunities I can get. I do all of that myself. I do all my research myself, and that pushes me to do these kinds of things, present in front of you guys today, do the SSAC. I also did DECA, JRTC as well, and I think I do all of these things because I'm just trying to not appease my parents, but just make them proud, make myself proud as well. That's definitely my biggest motivator.
Well, you've made us all very proud. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Trustee Johnson?
Yeah, I really appreciate you all coming and you help remind us why we do this important work, right? We sit here and sometimes it can be hard to remember what's the point of all our work, but then listening to you all reminds us of that. And Layla, I really appreciate you bringing your receipts. You brought all that data around why your school community is a great one. But Julian, I'm going to bring my question to you because you are in my district. Not that I don't want to talk to all of you, but one of the things you said, I really appreciate you talk about your school community. Can you tell us, like, what is the thing that you're going to remember most from your experience, right? Sounds like a very full experience, but when you kind of 10 years from now, what's one thing you're going to remember most about your high school experience that made a mark on you?
Thank you. I think what I'll remember the most, and I'm not just saying it because he's here, but the leadership at my school. I am very proud of the leadership at my school. I always hear these horror stories about, oh, my principal this, our admin that. I love my leadership at Bonanza High School. I could tell the teachers, the leadership, they really do care about us, and they really do try to give us the best possible high school experience. And I think that's something I'm going to remember the most because, like I said, like a lot of the times it seems like it seems like these teachers, the administration, they don't really care about you. They're there because it's their job, but I don't think that's the case with our admin and teachers at Bonanza High School. I really do appreciate everything that they do for us, and I have made many very close, very, very meaningful connections with staff at my school. So I think that's, yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Trustee Barone?
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, I'll have two questions since I have two students there from North Las Vegas. I guess I'll just go in order here. Ms. Ortega, really, you're just more the proof that, quite frankly, we know that our district's best and brightest stack up against anybody's best and brightest anywhere in the country, and you can write that down. I was so stunned. The brain actually had a little bit of a hard time keeping up with your accomplishments. Where did you say you're actually looking at attending for post-secondary here?
I will be attending the U.S. Naval Academy to be a USMC Marine Corps officer and playing D1's rugby there, sir.
Wow, I'll tell you what, I know a whole bunch of Marines would be really happy to hear that. Grandpa was Navy, right? I couldn't get in, unfortunately, but hey, that's because someone else took my place, but you're going to be doing this. So let me ask you, you're going to go to a very prestigious place there. Of course, 10 years from now, you're going to be a totally different person after having gone through Annapolis and all this, right? What do you think? How will you know that you'll actually have accomplished what your short-term goals? And I'm saying short-term because you have a long life ahead of you. How will you know in 10 years that you've actually accomplished your short-term goals?
How will I know that I've accomplished my short-term goals in about years of graduation post from now? We'll be seeing a happy and supported family by my own efforts, and a family that is structured around ethics and morals. So I pride myself in my religion. I'm Christian, so my faith holds a big role in my family and what I do and how I do it. So how I know I accomplish myself and my goals is knowing that I am the best version of myself that I put forth every single day, and coming home to whether it's my own family or the family that I have now, knowing that they're provided for, protected, and led by ethics and morals that were carried by my own.
I'm gonna make this. That's fantastic. I'm gonna make this prediction here. You're seeing the future commandant of the Marine Corps. I'll reserve my second one after someone else goes.
Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll say this every single time, best part of our board meetings, bar none. So I'll just ask the same question of each of you, because, so that everybody has a chance to ask you some inquiries. You are also outstanding. You have such a wide and diverse variety of experiences here. Student council, DECA, wrestling, ROTC. I'm like Trustee Barone. I lost track. I was just trying to kind of stay on track with what you're saying. What do you think, if you can, I know this is going to be a hard question, what does each of you think from one of your, I don't want to say extracurricular, because I don't count them as extracurricular. I count them as co-curricular. Which experience do you think that you'll really carry with you as you go into your life after high school? If you can narrow it down to one of your activities or one of your experiences. Whoever wants to start.
I think the National High School Drill Team Championship. And that event, because it's such a high-stake event, it's at the national level, and it's the pressure of trying to make your team proud, make the CCSD community proud, the state, as I said earlier, the whole West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of Texas schools over there, and it's the military. You know how the Texans are. Definitely the NHS-DTC. It's such a high-stake event, and there's 3 categories. There's a choreography. There's a standard marching procedure according to the drill manual, and there's an inspection phase. I mean, you have like these active duty drill sergeants. They're in your face trying to get you to break, and I think just that itself, they're trying to get you to break, and actively having all that weight on your shoulders and trying to keep your composure. That's definitely something that I've learned a lot from. Definitely, yes. Thank you.
For me, I'd have to say wrestling. I wrestled for most of my high school career, but the moment that stuck with me was junior year regionals. I had broke my collarbone and no longer had my spot to be a state qualifying wrestler. And she broke my collarbone because of an illegal move that was pulled. And it took me 6 months to recover. No PT, no more extracurriculars, no more sports. And I pride myself in having an athletic life and having a healthy lifestyle. But I could no longer do that for half a year because I was forced into recovery. But what that taught me was that I feared going back into wrestling because now my senior year, my career was online. My future was online. I could no longer do a pull-up, which is frowned by Marine Corps standards. So I had to build myself from the ground up. Not only was my bone shattered and currently pops out my shoulder as a constant reminder every single day, it was a reminder every single day I chose to step back onto the wrestling mat, and I chose to put my career and my future on the line, but trusting and having faith in the Lord, and also having faith in myself, that if I could build myself up from zero, I could do it again, and this time more easier. So wrestling was one of my pride and joys. Thank you.
For me, I sound like a broken record, but I would say it's volleyball. I've played volleyball for the past 10 years of my life, but the parts that really stuck out to me the most and stuck with me is these past 2 years because I was chosen to be captain for my high school volleyball team. And through that experience, I definitely learned a lot. I learned to be less rigid with myself, with others. I learned to be more open up to others' people's perspectives and what they should learn. I learned a good work ethic because I was now in charge of not only myself, but the actions of 10 to 12 other girls, but I also learned that there's moments where I need to step up. I need to step up and take charge because there are people looking to me. So I would say that that was probably the moment that stuck out to me the most.
Thank you so much, all of you. It's just amazing is too mild a word to say. So thank you so much for your very well thought out answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Henry.
Thank you all so much for your report. Layla, I wanted to say to you, continue to use your voice. Continue to use your voice. I know we had a few words up there. You know what I'm talking about. Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing, sharing your report as well. You said something that really resonated to me and with me, staying committed when everything is happening all at once. Can you share some tools that you utilize to do that?
100%, Miss Henry, no problem at all. Some of the tools that I used were actually the ones laid out by me, by CSNHS. When I was accepted into CSNHS, it was a requirement to have time management skills because now you are in charge of your schedule. You are in charge of knowing when you are on track to your degree. I can thankfully say, all glory to God, that I will be getting my associate's degree in business come next month. And that is because I had to be reasonable, and these are my classes, these are my core requirements, these are the electives that I can take, when I can take them, how I can take them, when is practice, when I need to be home, what chores I need to do. I'm an older sibling of 2 siblings and now a nephew under my care that my parents have so graciously brought under their family. And that is something I've had to keep in mind. So the tools that I used were time management, being able to know where I need to be and why and how, by what reasons. I needed to prioritize getting a driver's license because I needed to be able to drive around. I needed to see if going to work and working was something I should prioritize over my education, but at the end of the day, I have such a loving family that they told me it was regardless of that. So being able to have my own understanding of where my own morals lie for the tools that I used, along with patience, time management, and being self-aware, and that's how I was able to stay committed when everything was happening all at once. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And you have so much going on, but I did notice that you like to sew as well. Yeah. I would love a head wrap. I have material. You let me know.
Before I move on to Trustee Barone, I wanted to see if Trustee Bustamante Adams has anything. She's joining us online.
No, thank you. I'm impressed by all 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Barone.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. But first, I think I'm going to go ahead and have to revise my prediction for Ms. Ortega. Forget that Commandant of the Marines. I'm thinking Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Secretary of the Navy, Presidency, something like that. Quite frankly, I'd vote for you, most definitely. Actually, in this case, I'll be addressing Layla. Of course, your mom was one of my of course one of my colleagues at Rancho High School. I've always taken this thing with a Rancho High grad very serious. Because we'll have that in common, and other alum, heck, we're all over the place. Don't look now. We're kind of like running the state. Right, with many members of the state legislature tracking back to Rancho High School, our governor, members of Congress, and all that. Right, no pressure there. Right, but for yourself, right, what do you hope to be able to say years from now that you would say that makes you proud to be a Rancho Ram? By the way, I was going to go ahead and hit you with a different question. I was going to go ahead and hit you up with, since the boss there, since he's a big Star Trek guy, I was going to ask you to go ahead and explain what live long and prosper means. But I'm going to go ahead and keep him out. We'll bring it back to you. What do you think?
Well, I can't say I know much about Star Trek, so I'm glad you asked me that question. In years from now, I would say that one thing that would make me proud about Rancho is definitely, I touched on this, is definitely the community, and not even just like the student body community, but the staff as well. I'm sure, as you all know, Rancho is a hybrid magnet and zone school, but to me, in my opinion, it doesn't really feel, you would expect that it would feel very divided between the magnet and the non-magnet kids, but it doesn't, in my opinion. It feels like we're all very one big family, as corny as that sounds. And every day that I come to school, I feel excited to come to school to see the people, like my friends, my teachers are all very supportive, my staff, as my principal is very supportive. He was very helpful with this whole endeavor. So I would say probably just the community as a whole would probably be something I'd be proud of. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see anybody else in the queue. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I do actually have a question for you, Tiffany. Where did you wrestle? And was wrestling what made you decide to get into rugby? Because that's not something that I hear a lot of people getting into, especially females.
So I wrestled at Cheyenne High School. Cheyenne High School was the school I attended my freshman and sophomore year, Madam President, and then I switched over to CSN High School my junior and senior year, but I continued to do JROTC and be active at the sports there. But I wrestled there at Cheyenne High School. And funny story on how I was recruited on rugby, I had never played a day in my life. When I was accepted into the U.S. Naval Academy, we did something called a candidate visit weekend, where we went over for 3 days and shadowed a first-year student at the college, and mine so happened to be a women's rugby player. And she took me to her 4 a.m. practice, and I was like, you know what, yes, I'm going to get up, I'll go with you, I'll go to practice. But my plebe is what you call them, the freshmen, she was injured at the time, so they needed somebody to fill in the spot on the team. And, thanks to my years of expertise of wrestling, they told me to shoot for the legs and take her down when she had the ball, and that's exactly what I did. And then the coach was like, wow, you're pretty good at that. So, then and there, I was offered a spot on the team.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
It's a great story. Thank you. You guys were amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, with that, before we open the consent agenda, does anybody need to fill out a public speaker card? Anybody need to fill out a public speaker card? Oh, I see. You just have to hand them in up here. Joe, we have a woman in the back. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open item 3, consent agenda information. We do have public comment, so before I open it up to public comment for consent, does the board have anything? Because we do discussion and then we do consent. Or we do, okay, great. Let's go to Shannon Beal. Right here. Please state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Shannon Beal. I'm an SBTA at Ernest May Elementary School. I am here representing Ernest May's full staff. I was hired for the primary autism classroom of the 2025-2026 school year. I'm a new resident of Las Vegas. Before relocating, I served as the Public Relations Director for the Illinois de Jure Assembly. At the start of the school year, the teacher assigned to my classroom had not yet started. The SPED team at Ernest May, administration, teachers, and SBTAs work together to divide responsibilities, manage caseloads, and support students, despite the lack of a dedicated classroom. Many of them are here with me today. Myself and my teacher received explicit and abundant training. I want to emphasize my experience with the broader Ernest May Elementary School team has been overwhelmingly positive. We are a diverse and dedicated group who give mutual support to students and parents. The district trainers and my mentors have been a godsend. They've shown me exceptional dedication, collaboration, and care. In conclusion, I want to ask about first-year teachers and having a certification that makes you qualified and fit to teach. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment for item 3, consent agenda information. Let's go ahead and see if we've got a motion to approve consent. Trustee Biasotti,
I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda.
do I have a second? Trustee Dominguez?
I second.
Let's vote. Trustee Bustamante Adams?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we will now have Trustee Dominguez please read the warrants.
Thank you, Madam President. Ratified warrants as listed in bills payable, transmittal, and board memorandum number 172526 in the total amount of $160,639,340.45. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, anybody need a public speaker card? We're about to open 4.01. Okay, let's go ahead and open 4.01, recommendation to close Good Springs Elementary School and zoning from Good Springs Elementary School to Sandy Valley Elementary School.
Oh, there we go. All right. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Lynn Walker, School Associate Superintendent, Region 2, and Supervisor of Good Springs Elementary School, as well as Sandy Valley Elementary, Middle, and High School. Good evening, and thank you for allowing this item to be heard tonight regarding the proposal to repurpose the Good Springs Elementary School building for another beneficial community use and close the school. Tonight, you will hear from the building principal about why this recommendation is being brought forward, as well as our facilities team regarding the compliance pieces of school repurposing, including feedback from the school community and future opportunities if action is taken tonight. At this time, I'll hand the presentation over to Principal Tammy Flanagan.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert. For the record, Tammy Flanagan, Principal of Good Springs Elementary School, Sandy Valley Elementary, Middle, and High School. Good evening. I taught at Good Springs Elementary School during the 2017-18 school year as a 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teacher. Beginning in 2018 until last year, I was the assistant principal. This year is my first year as principal. So, Good Springs Elementary School is a special place to me, and one that I want to preserve with the hope that many people will be able to experience the 113-year-old building and its history. The most important reason for this proposal is that we want to provide the most opportunities for students through clubs, activities, and interactions with many other students for their social and emotional well-being. It is also important to note that one teacher is responsible for teaching multiple grade levels with multiple subjects, ensuring that the standards are taught with fidelity and rigor. The lack of enrollment is another reason. Continuously enrolled students have ranged from 2 to 3 students in the last 5 years. For the 26-27 school year, the projection is only 1 student. Lastly, we need to be fiscally responsible. The cost of operating and the upkeep of the school is substantial when considering only 1 student. If students do not go to Good Springs Elementary, they will be bused to Sandy Valley. There is no added cost, as there is already a bus that stops in Good Springs to pick up secondary students for Sandy Valley. At this time, I will hand the presentation over to Mr. Brandon McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert. For the record, Brandon McLaughlin, Chief Facilities of the Facility Services Unit. I will cover the proposal's legal and regulatory requirements tonight and the results of our public meeting, as well as any future opportunities for the Good Springs Elementary School building. First, on Tuesday, March 24th of this year, the district met the 30-day written notice requirement by hand delivering notices to Good Springs Elementary School staff and parents. Beginning on April 13th of this year, 10 days prior to tonight, the district published daily notices of this meeting in the Las Vegas Review-Journal and the Sandy Valley Bulletin. Also, as required by District Regulation 7113, the mandatory studies for school closure are provided in the included reference materials. And as a result, our demographics and zoning department recommends reassigning Good Springs students to Sandy Valley Elementary School 12 miles away. Again, rationale provided in the reference material you have received. Now, this would allow for our Good Springs community to maintain a cohesive feeder school alignment with siblings able to attend the same school as the current high school and middle school, or middle school and high school area into Sandy Valley for those middle school and high school offerings in Sandy Valley. A little bit of insight on Sandy Valley. Sandy Valley is at 73% utilization with 113 students enrolled. Now, this campus also received a huge capital improvement of $32 million completed in 2020 and again in 2022 for their high school and elementary buildings. Now, additional reference material B was provided yesterday as well. Now, on April 7th, we held a community meetings in Good Springs to gather feedback. Now, to ensure broad awareness, we mailed 178 postcard invitations to all property owners within a 1-mile radius, and we did that on March 24th of this year. Now, that session was attended by approximately 29 community members. School leadership and district staff really focused this meeting entirely on listening and collecting the community's input. Now, the following statement summarizes the community feedback gathered during that meeting, and I quote, "The community expressed concern about the proposed closure, citing logistical barriers posed by the rural location and student safety issues related to mixed-age busing and inclement weather. Stakeholders questioned enrollment contingencies, specifically requesting maximum capacity figures and asking whether Good Springs could serve as a primary grade overflow or a magnet school to prevent over-enrollment at Sandy Valley. Public testimony asked for budgetary transparency regarding operating costs and proposed, quote, Fallout Vegas, which is a event they hold there, pledged donations of funds while offering local volunteers and community resources to help offset repair costs. Residents also sought clarity on future facility use and the impact of industrial population influxes and the specific reopening metrics required to restore local instruction, end quote. Now, we verified our meeting notes and emailed a summary of that to attendees on April 17th, last Friday, and no changes were requested. And so we've included that feedback along with the detailed questions and answers in the included reference material so that we can actually accurately capture what was shared with us on that April 7th event. The last piece I'll walk through is the building. So the historic 1913 schoolhouse is certainly a community treasure if you've all ever been able to take a trip out there. While it may no longer serve as a school, we are committed to transferring it to a partner who will maximize its community value. We have held preliminary talks with Clark County regarding a potential community use, as well as the Las Vegas Clark County Library District, which are both interested in moving from their, the Las Vegas Clark County Library District is interested in relocating from their current modular unit on our property potentially into this permanent space. Now, both entities have inspected the building with tours. If the proposal is approved tonight, we would begin negotiating terms and conditions with those partners to start. We also met with the Good Springs Historical Society. We do intend to include provisions in any future agreement that potentially would accommodate their needs and explore any sort of museum space that they may want to participate in our building with those future partners. And last, the community did desire to have a voice in selecting who that final partner is and any of the programs they're able to offer. So we do recommend further community engagement before this body takes formal action on any future use agreements. So that concludes my portion. And at this time, I'll hand the presentation back over to Ms. Walker.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Lynn Walker. The Good Springs Elementary School building serves as a wonderful asset to this school community, and we endeavor to honor that legacy by making the building more accessible to more patrons by leveraging the space to partners that can more efficiently utilize its rich historical walls. You have heard tonight a passionate plea by a building principal to enrich the social-emotional offerings to her limited number of students that are available at a campus nearby. You've heard legal and regulatory requirements were met. You've heard feedback from the community that lives and supports the school, as well as the potential opportunities for partners to better utilize the building in the event that you take action tonight. We know this is a sensitive and difficult recommendation, but ultimately one that we feel benefits all students of the Clark County School District, and specifically the Good Springs School community. We thank you for your consideration tonight, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I am going to let Trustee Bustamante Adams, who's joining us virtually, I'm going to let her kick this off as this is in her district, as well as Trustee Satori. So we'll go Trustee Bustamante Adams, and then we'll kick it over to Trustee Satori.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate that. I want to extend my gratitude to the superintendent and her team. The compassion and the humility that they have shown the community in Good Springs has been appreciated. Superintendent Ebert, we learned a lot from a previous lesson, and you have done everything that we've asked, especially the community engagement, so thank you. And even as going as far as doing further community engagement with the community there when selecting a final partnership or partners for that school. So thank you so much, and especially the principal for just your due diligence. And I just want to say thank you that we are going to be offering the two students a more well-rounded opportunity in Sandy Valley. So thank you. I appreciate the compassion and the humility that we've shown this community, and I'm really proud of our team. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Satori.
Thank you very much. And yes, I would also like to echo Trustee Bustamante Adams' sentiments. I thank the district staff as well for their diligence with this matter. It is always such a difficult decision, and I just always support our rural schools so much, and the need for the value of them. So it's difficult, to make these decisions. But I also want to extend my recognition of our Principal Flanagan here for her commitment to this community, for navigating, your community through these times, and just, weighing all the options and decisions and trying to come up with what was best for the students. That's the key, what's best for the students. I do have a couple of questions, if I may. You had mentioned a tradition that was taking place in the building. It was like a pioneer day or something. I would like to know about how you're going to maybe maintain some of the traditions that were established at Good Springs, how you can maybe maintain some of those moving forward.
I know that the Historical Society would be able to speak more to that. Mm-hmm. But they have a yearly reunion that will probably be spoken about a little bit later. And that's a yearly thing, the first Saturday of in May, every year. So we continue to be part of that as well, to celebrate the history of Good Springs.
And if I may ask as well, on the transportation, I know when we were having the discussions about Lundy, and you had mentioned the inclement weather and some of those concerns, it's only, you said, about a 30-minute. What is the time, like what time do they leave in the morning? Because we're talking about elementary students taking that bus trip. Can you just speak to that, like what the trip is for them? Like what time do they get back? What time would they leave in the morning?
So it is 12 miles from Good Springs to Sandy Valley. So the bus generally gets there, it will be a little bit later, 6:45 to 7 a.m. And then school will start at 8 a.m. So they usually get to campus by 7:30, between 7:30 and 7:40.
And then what time do they get home in the evening?
4 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. My final question I had, and I don't know if you'd mentioned the library. I thought I had just seen that there was an approval for a new library, so I was wondering if you knew anything about that or how that was in Good Springs.
Brandon McLaughlin for the record. The library district has, to our knowledge, recently undergone a purchase agreement for a property out there. I think that was in motion before this proposal came about. So when this opportunity arose, they're interested, and I don't know what that means for their other property or potentials down the road, but this was an attractive option for them for sure.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Trustee Dominguez.
I just wanted to say thank you to the team for answering all our questions, especially from the lessons learned previously. It really, I think this process has been a lot more methodical, especially with the rezoning and just kind of having that community input and community voice. And obviously, no community wants to shut their schools down, but we have to. I think this is going to set a precedence maybe for any other schools that are on this in this direction. So thank you.
Trustee Barone.
Thank you, Madam President. Of course, a lot of people, of course, they get emotions mixed, and of course, that the community there, I could totally understand. Good Springs, that's a very concise, community, and of course, they, in the best of all possible worlds, they didn't want to see this school get closed down. But in the interest of efficiency, I totally understand, and I really applaud, of course, this board and our leadership's efforts to learn from previous mistakes and missteps, or however you want to say it, right, and work diligently with the Good Springs community. I just have one simple question, and maybe it's not that simple, but if all of a sudden, the demographics change, and all of a sudden you have a small influx, a dozen kids or something, right? Does that mean that they would be also bused to Sandy Valley if they so chose? And we have the capacity to make that happen, right?
So Brandon McLaughlin for the record. It's actually one of the Q&As in the included updated reference material or additional reference material, but I think, yes, having them go to their zoned location to Sandy Valley, if approved tonight, would be our first choice. There's also zoning adjustments that could be addressing additional overcrowding if ever presented. And then obviously our third option, I believe, would be reopening Good Springs, but I will say development in Good Springs has been 3 homes since 2005 and no planned development with any of the municipalities registered right now.
Yeah, I get it. We always, it's always good to know that we have a plan in case things do change. No further questions for me.
Thank you. Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. I really don't have anything to add as far as a question, just a comment echoing what some of my colleagues had said, with the care and the compassion that was shown to the community, that I know that when we had the briefing, all of you made it very clear that what you had considered is that this was not just a building, but this was, basically a beacon and a representative of this community, a very special community. So I very much appreciate the way that our team has gone about looking at it as such and appreciating the community input. And I understand you're going to have even another little celebration coming up soon as far as some, I believe on May 2nd, I think was that Principal Flanagan. So I commend all of you, and Principal Flanagan, thank you so much for your service, not only at Good Springs, but also at Sandy Valley, and being able to give your personal input as the administrator there right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Esparza-Stafford.
So we were briefed, and I want to kind of bring it back to Principal Flanagan. Your ties to the community and the history that you have there, and I kind of asked you, what is the trajectory of where you will be and where the teacher will be? We know the students will transfer to the other school, potentially.
For the record, Tammy Flanagan, Principal. The 2 employees, is that what you're asking? The 2 employees currently have already accepted CCSD positions for next school year. And I reside, my office is in Sandy Valley, and I will continue as principal for Sandy Valley Elementary, Middle, and High School.
Thank you. I appreciate that you will remain there. And I think this question is for Brandon McLaughlin. When you said that there were 29 community members that attended, I'm curious about, and I'm hoping we have some potential conversation tonight from the community, that they may be represented here and that was mentioned. What were some of the asks that, should the school not be available as a school for students, what is the community wanting us to know what they would like to see going in the future?
Brandon McLaughlin, for the record, I don't want to regurgitate the same things that were shared. I believe we captured them accurately in the additional reference, but certainly a beneficial community use. So that's why we approached the Clark County Parks and Recreation in particular first. Then I'd say a second theme we heard was the Historical Society and having a place where their stories and artifacts can be on display was a very strong number two. Those are the two big ones I'd stop at.
And I just know that having experienced, we went to the conference in San Antonio and we had an opportunity to hear from other districts that are going through the same iterations of conversation. So I'm curious to how we can maintain the legacy, the ask, even if it were to be released potentially to another entity. How will that be part of the agreement and the process for the community?
Brandon McLaughlin, as I stated, there is a desire by the community to continue the conversation about what those partners are, what types of programs they're able to offer. So we will facilitate that if approved here tonight. Ultimately, the terms and conditions of any sort of land or property transaction have not been set, and so some of the parameters that we would like to see in a agreement like that would be honoring some of the things we hear related to the community's desires for, say, the Historical Society. And then maybe some things around the building and its preservation. I mean, National Historic Registry of Historic Places will ensure that, but we want to be with a partner, right, that's going to honor some of those things as well.
Thank you for that. And I know that we have some of our schools that are being rebuilt, and we were able to work with some of the groups to go in and take artifacts from some of the schools to make sure that those things are not lost within our district as well. And we do have individuals that are archiving certain things. I know that you've been working, thank you, Mr. McLaughlin, with those individuals in our community to do so. And I'll get myself back in the queue. Thank you.
Trustee Johnson?
I just wanted to say that I appreciate the humanization of the process, right? We are a very large entity, and it can feel sometimes that we can be disconnected, but to be so intentional to make sure that every voice is heard. I was telling colleagues in the back this morning or this afternoon that I was talking to school districts in Montana this morning, and they have single school districts with 340 students, and it's incredibly important to them. And for us to put the exact same amount of care for a very small district, very small school community that we would for Bonanza or larger areas, right? It means that we're thinking about everybody and how everyone is experiencing our district. So I want to give kudos to you all, and then making sure that this process is repeatable as we go for the next 5 to 7 years. I know it's time consuming and it's challenging. And so just many thanks for the intentionality through the process.
Thank you. Okay, we do have public comment on this item. So that looks like it concludes our discussion. I'm going to call up our first person who signed up for public comment for 4.01, Bobby Poole. Just state your name for the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is this on? Okay. Good evening, Madam President, school board members, and Superintendent Ebert. My name is Bobby Poole, and I am proud to say that I'm a lifelong member of Nevada, a former student at Good Springs Elementary School, and a retired teacher, and I dedicated 30 years to this very school district. My husband also shares that same story. We both attended Good Springs School. In fact, I met him when I was in the first grade and he was in the third grade. And we both became teachers and worked. He worked for 31 years and I worked for 30. Good Springs Elementary is more than just a building, as you have shared tonight. Since 1913, it has been a cornerstone of our community, a place where generations of children took their first steps in education, where families gathered, and where the spirit of the rural Nevada has been preserved for over a century. I understand the difficult position the district is in. With only 2 students currently enrolled, it is clear that operating the school as it stands is no longer sustainable. These are tough decisions, and I respect the responsibility you carry in making them. But closing a school does not mean we have to lose it. Good Springs Elementary is listed as a historic site. Once a building like this is unused, it quickly falls to disrepair. We have seen this before in Nevada. Schools like Fourth Ward School in Virginia City and Goldfield High School were shuttered and left unused, only for communities later to be overwhelmed by financial burdens to restore what had been lost. We have an opportunity right now to do something different. As a member of the Good Springs Historical Society.
Bobby,
Yes.
it's me, right here. Oh. Hi. So we do a 3-minute public comment. So what we could do is, if you are planning on sticking around, I can put you on the next item. Not the next item, but our public comment at the end. If you'd like to finish then, is that okay?
I was passed through it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll follow the rules, but thank you. I think you have been more than gracious, and we appreciate you taking into consideration our ideas.
Thank you, Bobby. Next up, we have Mary Blake.
Hi, everybody. As you can see, I'm here to talk about Good Springs. And this is the school. If you've never seen it, it looks just like this. Hi, Superintendent. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to see all of the members of the board. How many of you have been to Good Springs, may I ask? Okay, well, on behalf of the Good Springs Historical Society, we would like to invite all of you to come to Good Springs for a special day where we will be celebrating the school. It's May 2nd. I have invitations for everyone. Everyone in the audience is welcome to come. We would love everybody to come and see the school. I am a retired Clark County School District librarian. I have experienced the closing of Las Vegas schools. I was a student at North 9th, a historical school. It was closed, it was repurposed, and now it's gone. I was also a student at Fifth Street Grammar School, which was closed, repurposed, and it is an amazing facility. The difference is the planning, the cooperation between different entities that took place. So I encourage all of you, I am so excited to see how much time the district has put into this little school. But it's more than just a little school. It's an important cultural part of the Good Springs community. And that's what we miss sometimes. There's nothing else there except the school. Because of the stewardship of the Clark County School District, since 1950, you have supervised, staffed, maintained, preserved, and modernized the building. The building is in perfect condition. The building also has the most incredible history you could have. One of the teachers, Julie Newberry, researched every decade of the Good Springs School, and she put together boards for each decade. She went to Carson City. She collected the names of every teacher. She collected class lists of every student at the school. She and Bobby Poole, who just spoke, created this book, Good Springs, the first 100 years. And in this book, you find the entire history. Now think about that. What school in Clark County has its, how am I done? Entire history. You do have a copy of this in the archive, and I encourage you to look at it. Anyway, I just want you to know how important the school is to all of us, and I can see it's important to you too. And I want you to be sure and come to Good Springs and look at the school, and then make your decision on what should happen to it.
May 2nd, right, Mary? May 2nd? May 2nd?
May 2nd.
Got it.
And if you don't know how to get to Good Springs, I put directions on.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
You'll be transported back in time. I guarantee it.
Thank you, Mary.
Very much.
All right, finally, we have Dr. Steve Fleming.
Before my 3 minutes start, I'd just like to say something that's kind of unique. You have 3 Las Vegas natives, the first 3 here, all octogenarians, all with very close ties to the Good Springs School. I think it's probably first time that's ever happened here. So greetings to all of your Board of Trustees, and I am deeply saddened that we're facing closure. My mother and 2 sisters attended 8 years at Good Springs School. I also attended. My father taught there. My grandfather served many years on the school board before consolidation. But we have seen the writing on the blackboard, essentially. And if you vote to close our school, we implore that you do everything possible to preserve it as a rural school museum. Become the district that boldly embraces the future and proudly recognizes the past. The documentation of our school's history is extensive and likely unmatched. 43 years ago, a group of former Good Springs school kids were attending their Las Vegas high school reunion. They decided they should have a Good Springs reunion. Julie Newberry, who has been mentioned, taught at our school for 17 years. She recognized the history that was being shared at these reunions. We're celebrating the 43rd year this May 2nd. The Good Springs Historical Society joined that reunion 25 years ago. 25 years we have been trying to save the history of Good Springs. And obviously, the school is probably the number one thing that is part of that history. So please recognize the gem that the district has, and they have a unique opportunity to memorialize the extreme importance that rural schools played in our country and in our state. Rural schools were such an important part of so many communities. This is a unique thing. I know we maybe want to transfer it to another entity, but the district, I think, may have the capacity to do something on and be a part of that, because it should be a rural school museum. I know there is a school up in Elgin that is on the state historic register. We're on the national. Basically, it's something that just can't be let to not survive. Our first choice might be as the Historical Society, and I'm here representing them and saying that we'll do anything and everything possible to make that happen. Whether it's hopefully maybe the library and a little museum for us. We have a little museum out there, but we need a more space. It would be perfect. One thing that does trouble me is, I don't know whether you all are aware of the fact that the press said that they were going to save $1 million by closing it. That's not possible. You can't possibly be spending $1 million.
Dr. Fleming. Thank you so much.
I have some figures that would substantiate that. That's the only thing. I know you guys have done a lot of good public relations, but we could have had a little more time to really explore other savings.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Thank you. That concludes our public comment on 4.01. I would like to entertain a motion. Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. With deep respect for the community in Good Springs and to support the transition of the students, I move forward with the decision.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second? Trustee Biasotti?
Thank you, Madam President. I am very grateful for all the stories shared tonight. I will second the motion.
Thank you. Let's vote. Trustee Bustamante Adams?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you. Before we move on in the agenda to 4.02, is there anybody who has not had an opportunity to fill out a public comment card? No, okay. All right, we will open 4.02, Notice of Intent, Clark County School District Board of Trustees Governance Policies. I'm not going to read all of this. There are two portions. This first portion is for us to approve, adopt, repeal, amend the new policies that we've been working on for a very long time. And I will go ahead and open it up for discussion. If anybody has anything they want to add for any of these items, GP1 all the way through to GP22. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll kick us off. So I appreciated our time during the retreat and going through all these policies and the time that, I'll just mention it, like our staff has taken with the documents. So I really appreciate that. I have still deep concerns for GP3. There is, to me, just a portion in there that cannot be upheld, and I think that requires more discussion. So I would love to, when we're ready, provide a motion, but to separate GP3 for discussion.
Okay, before we entertain a motion, let's finish discussion as well as public comment. So thank you, Trustee Biasotti.
Thank you, Madam President. It is my understanding that we can already start discussing different, or do I have to make a motion to begin discussing a certain section?
So my understanding is we can discuss all of these items. So if you wanted to discuss three, the only reason that you would pull it would be if you were pulling it from a motion to approve. So you were saying, I'm not ready to. So if you want to discuss any of these items, now would be the time to do that.
I would like to discuss Governance Policy 2 under number 1. In reading through this, I had a question. It states, while open dialogue is encouraged in a trustee role, trustees are expected to support the final decision made by the whole board. Trustees may confirm to the public that they voted in opposition to a board decision, but shall not engage in undermining the decision or publicly criticizing the board or individual trustees regarding the decision. I couldn't help but relate that to something that happened earlier this evening. And while I know we haven't approved the this policy just yet, and for example, the land acknowledgement was
So
voted
I'm going to
down the
call,
last
I'm going to
time.
call point of order. And the reason why I'm calling point of order is because this particular item, I understand what you're saying, but this particular item is, we are discussing whether or not we want to approve, amend, or appeal. So when we're discussing these policies, the goal here is for us to determine if we can accept the policy as it's written and approve that, or if there's something that we're still not sure about, but not necessarily the specific conduct of another trustee in this moment.
Thank you, I understand that, but I was using this instant as an example to see what the consequence would be once this policy were to be approved. What would be the consequence if during one of our meetings, a trustee violated this particular policy and did not respect a decision?
So we do have it outlined, and we have Mr. Caruso here as well. He like has these memorized, I'm pretty sure. But my understanding is we have in our policies, it states what would happen. So essentially, it is a conversation, usually privately with the president and that trustee, or if another trustee is wanting to have that conversation, those steps are taken. And if the trustee in question continues down that road with in not respecting the policy, then the board can even move forward to an
Censorship?
It is. I think it was an informal or informal censure, which is essentially maybe removing that trustee from some of the public things that they do, like some of the committees they're on, and so on and so forth. I do think, since we are talking about this, it's important for the public to know that these processes do not remove the trustee from their office. We don't have that ability, right? But it would be an informal censure. But that's a last resort. I remember our consultant, Dr. Alsbury, made it very clear that is a very last resort. We really, as a board, we want to work together as much as possible in understanding, why these policies are in place and why we want to respect the decisions of the board. So in that respect.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. As I understand this, is this our second notice of intent? We are here, as you said before, sorry? First notice of intent. So we are here as far as the agenda item states, discussion and possible action. We have tuned and retuned and discussed and rediscussed all of these. Marinated, yes, I forgot about that. Marinated, a lot of marination there. So what we're here to do tonight is to basically see if this is something with all of the revisions and the input that we have done that we can accept. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
if there is something that you are feeling like, I can't accept this, you can make a motion and pull that item. Of course, the board would have to go along with that, but yes.
No, I actually think that we, together as a board and also staff, with your assistance, that we have done a very good job of really working on these policies, and we put a lot of work into them. So no, I will not be making a motion to pull any of these. I think that these are excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I see everybody jumped off. I wanted to, I guess, do my discussion right now is for GP 3, Section 7F.6. I think it's just not feasible to uphold, and I'm a little concerned that we've done so much work with each one of these, finessing and having so much discussion with these, and I am concerned that these policies may not be followed or respected, and I'm concerned that this policy in particular, the way it is worded to uphold to CCSD policy, is just not able to be upholded as a trustee, and especially since we are not employees, we are elected officials, and we are upheld by the voters, and we are not upheld by CCSD policies. So, thank you.
Okay. Trustee Biasotti.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to second that. I also feel that these policies overstep a little bit our ability to communicate with our constituents. I think once we are aware and of the respect involved and we respect each other's viewpoints, they should be welcomed. Anything further than welcoming each other's viewpoints with respect, I feel is unnecessary. So I would like to second a motion to remove that particular policy.
So it wasn't a motion. So we're just discussing right now. And that's the beautiful thing about discussion time, right? Because it doesn't have to be a tit for tat or a back and forth. It's an opportunity for us to share where our thoughts are. At the end of the day, every single one of us has the opportunity, if we make a motion, to pull an item if that's what you want to do at that time. So we'll keep the discussion moving along. Trustee Johnson.
Yeah, it feels like we have spent a significant amount of time whittling these down to what I think are good guidelines and guardrails. Because as you mentioned, President Stevens, there's much of it still will require individual restraint and adherence to whatever personal code you have, and there is no legal consequence, of course, unless of course you break the law, but there's no legal ramification for breaking these policies. You should not, but so to that end, I guess I'm saying all that to say we've put a lot of energy, effort into making these, I think, reasonable for all of us to work within. And so I think we should, instead of trying to get to a place where every word is something that everyone agrees on, because that feels like that might not be reasonable for 11 people, these are things within that we can live by and set good precedent for others to be able to use as directionally important for how you should behave as a trustee, because it can get really challenging to get to every sentence for every period that 11 people will say, this is exactly how I feel, especially if there are no, as we described, no real consequence for if a person decides to go outside of it.
Thank you. Trustee Barone?
Yeah, actually, I just needed a clarification from Trustee Biasotti. Which governance policy and which paragraph is it in particular that she's actually speaking against?
It's on page 23. Look at Roman numeral small Roman numeral 6.
Scrolling down here. Scrolling.
Was that your question, or did you have a comment?
Well,
I believe it's
I
not on
mean,
that
this is
page.
something that, quite frankly, we've already gone through at length, in a very special meeting that was open to the public. We discussed this, and with all respect here, there's a look. I've been a public figure, like it or not, for a long time. And sometimes accountability to the public comes with the territory. And if you don't want to, look, I can go ahead and say almost anything I want in public, but there's consequences for that. And when you're a public figure, when you're an elected figure, your word counts. If all of a sudden I'm making aspersions about employees, there will be consequences for that. Again, you can say whatever you want, but there's consequences. And I, as an elected official, my word, of course, is amplified. And anything that you do and you say in public is amplified. If I'm Isaac Barone, the bus driver, and I get into a bar fight, that's one thing. If I'm Isaac Barone, for instance, the councilman, and I get into a fist fight at a bar, that's something totally different. I think that these things that we agreed to already and discussed at length in our meeting that was open, we went at this ad nauseum. And I believe that there are standards that we as elected officials or appointed officials should adhere to. And it's not about necessarily being restricted as to what you can say, right? But what it does boil down to is there should be an accountability, not just an internal filter, but there should be also an external filter that we're held to if we go ahead and we violate some norms of communication that we all agree to. And I think if you run for office, whether you're running for the state senate or a trustee on this board, or you're a city councilman, right? It comes with the territory, and you accept those restrictions that I think our society and that your constituents are expecting of you. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve this whenever it's ready.
Thank you, Trustee Barone. We'll come back to you. We've got more people in the queue, and we have public comment. So we'll go Trustee Esparza-Stafford.
So I'm looking at the portion, Trustee Biassatti. I want to make sure that I'm clear on, and I had a question, actually a legal question. It says that trustees will refrain from posting remarks or comments on social media that could reasonably be interpreted as infraction of CCSD policy 5137. And then it goes on, it titles it policy 5138, and then also policy 5139. So it's actually not our board counsel, but a CCSD council question. Mr. Okazaki, if I may ask you, are our school district policies aligned to state NRS and statute?
Thank you very much, John Okazaki, General Counsel, for the record. I thought I was tracking your question, but could you repeat the last part of what you were asking for?
The district policies that we've adopted, are they aligned to NRS and to state laws?
So I could answer yes. Do you want me to elaborate, though?
Yes, please.
Yes, they are, but the NRS does not necessarily apply to trustees. So in some of the things that these policies and regs address, our policy, the topics and the requirements provided by the NRS track with our policies and regs, but not all of the NRS apply to trustees. Bullying applies to trustees, but what's interesting, not interesting, but what's complicated here is the district has no authority over trustee conduct, and really the board doesn't have any authority over individual trustee conduct. So it really would be a separate process in order to allege that a trustee is violating an NRS. But as I've stated repeatedly, what I think the board is doing here is, the way I interpret what the board is doing here, is they are, like Trustee Johnson was alluding to, you're agreeing to adhere to these policies. By passing this, you're saying, we believe these are appropriate standards and we're agreeing to abide by them.
And that's why I wanted to get clarity on that, because of the fact that as trustees, we are not employed by the district. Some of us are either elected and/or appointed, and that's a given. But I want to go back to when we had our initial training with Dr. Alsbury, and he talked about the culture is established and set by the board. And that is what is going to be a precedent. And we've had this discussion, and we have agreed that we would set the culture. And if we have expectations of employees, we have expectations of ourselves, we all took an oath, whether you are appointed or you're elected. So, I would be in favor of us moving forward with what we agreed upon. And we all had this discussion, and like some of us said, you can watch it. It was a board retreat, March 30th. It's posted online. It was very lengthy, but you probably won't want to. But there was a full discussion about all of this prior to this moment. So for us to now pull things out and re-discuss this, I think is a regression for us as a board, and it's not going back to what we agreed upon. So I would be in favor of us moving forward when a motion is ready to be made.
Thank you. Trustee Henry.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to second the motion that's on the floor. No?
There's no motion on the floor.
Okay, so when there is a motion to approve 4.03, I would like to second. I know that there is consequences for actions. I know that others up here know that as well because they've had conversations. I'm willing to continue to have conversations. And yeah, can we call the question?
Well, I do want to give Trustee Bustamante Adams a chance as well. And we do have a few people in the queue. I'm willing to allow the discussion to go a little bit longer so long as we're not repeating ourselves. If we're just saying what we've already said, then we'll call the question. If you have something new to add, I think that would be very helpful. We do have 22 policies on here, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had something new to add, but if you don't, then we can call the question. Trustee Bustamante Adams?
Thank you, Madam President. I do want to thank the team for all the effort that's been put into developing the policies. They have not been addressed for about 12 years, and so I appreciate the courage and the due diligence. My question is, these policies are a living document, right? So if we were to move forward at some point down the line, if we found that something wasn't working and we needed to adjust, there is a process for that. But I wanted to confirm that it is a living document, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't see you nodding your head. I just, so thank you. That's just wanted to make sure I had confirmation on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we do have a few people in the queue. Trustee Henry, you're still in the queue. I don't know if you... and I want to ask those in the queue, do we have something new to add? Trustee Cavazos?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
This is a team effort, and what I want to say here is, again, not repeating what has already been said, but that we're not always going to agree on every single tiny point, but we're looking at the greater good and the accountability and the transparency. And this is what we're looking at not only for the board, but for our entire district. So I think when we look at these, we need to be very respectful of one another and look at what the greater goal is. And I think that, Madam President, you already have stated that. I also had a question about has the question been called, and if the question has been called, checking in with legal, do we need to vote on this now if the question has been called? And
Legal counsel for the board, Mahogany Turfley. The question cannot be called right now because you still have public comment. However, if, the same people are on the queue with the same type of questions, then we can move on to public comment.
That's what I thought. Thank you. That's all I had, Madam President.
Thank you. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I did have some more questions, and just to reiterate, I mean, we've done a lot of work here, people. This is a lot of papers that we have printed out for these policies, and a lot of discussions, and you can go back and watch all the videos because it is not very entertaining, but I think that in each one, this issue has been brought up, and so this is not just a last-minute item. The two questions that I had was about, so NRS policies. So who is the entity that, this would be to our attorney, who is the entity that upholds trustees to NRS?
John Okazaki, General Counsel for the record. My understanding is that the District Attorney's Office would be the one who would enforce any or investigate any allegation against misconduct by a trustee.
I think it was Attorney General. You said District Attorney?
I thought it was the District Attorney.
I think it was AG. Oh, if it's just DA, then.
Yeah, I recall,
take one of the
my
attorneys.
recollection is the last time this went around,
Okay.
it was the District Attorney.
Okay, thank you. And also for our attorney, I know we've had a lot of conversation just in the past year about, even just kind of like the social media and the posting and these policies in particular. Can they be upheld? Can somebody be upheld to their social media post?
Mahogany Turfley, Board Counsel. So again, if these regulations or governance policies are voted on and approved by the board, and someone violates them, you would go through the process that's laid out in the governance policy.
Got it. And if somebody is, and I'm not trying to go in back and forth, but where I'm trying to get at is, can you prevent somebody's freedom of speech?
Well, that's not what's happening here. So
Well-
if the board approves these governance policies, or if they don't, we already have a set of approved governor policies. So if you violate those, which you've all agreed on, then you would go through that process. Again, it's censorship is the ultimate step in that process.
I agree, yeah. And where I'm trying to get at is the First Amendment in this, and how having a belief could be almost taken as providing an unsafe and unrespectful learning environment, or it could be seen as bullying. And so I guess where is the line between having a certain belief and also having that social media, being able to put that on social media? So my question to you is, can that freedom of speech, where's the border on that for freedom of speech?
Mahogany Turfley, General Counsel for the board. That's not a legal question that I can answer related to this governance policy.
Yep. So if I may, I would like to say this, and then I'll turn it over to Trustee Esparza-Stoffergen. One of the things that I think is really important to note about this particular policy that you've brought forward is that it says trustees will refrain from posting remarks or comments on social media about these particular items. Nobody is stopping anybody from posting anything. It's just saying that we as a team are going to be more responsible with our social media. Like, we don't have to post things. That's we don't have to post, we don't have to not post, but just know that if you do, there are certain things in these policies that say, hey, we don't want that. That if you feel strongly that that is not how it should go, like you don't want that in there, then you can vote accordingly. But what we are not going to do is discuss this again for another 30 minutes. So if you are not comfortable with this policy, that's okay. That's totally okay that you're not comfortable for it. So then just don't vote for it. Don't approve it, or pull it and say, hey, I want to, approve everything except this one. Like, we can go through that process. That's why this process is in place. But discussing it over and over again is not going to change what we've already discussed the last 3 times we've brought this up. So this is where we are today. Today, we're going to make a decision. We're either going to vote it in or we're going to vote it down. Trustee Esparza-Stafford? Okay, great. Let's open it up to public comment. Where are we at? Oh, we have one person for public comment. Miss Valdez. Miss Stephanie Valdez.
All right. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, my name is Stephanie Valdez, and I live in Las Vegas, District E. I'm a parent of 3 CCSD students, elementary, middle, and high school. I really sincerely appreciate the board's lengthy efforts to establish governance policies. I am concerned that some trustees have said that they shouldn't be governed by CCSD policies because they were elected, and their accountability comes every 4 years with an election. To me, that's a major red flag that representatives of the district, people engaged in children's education, want to be exempt from accountability. There shouldn't be any exception that allows trustees to discriminate against a group of students. And it doesn't make the board more diverse and inclusive, no matter how you spin it. You are making decisions that don't just impact children's education, but also their lives and their futures. Anyone who's a part of district leadership, elected, appointed, hired, enrolled, have integrity and agree to adhere to the same district standards and policies. Regarding trustee social media use, I've heard that some trustees believe their posts have been more respectful recently. But I'm wondering if they've just been hiding behind the social media account of other organizations to bash trustees, dox teachers, discriminate against groups, content that doesn't align with CCSD policies. And it sounds a lot like when Dr. Jara allegedly created a burner social media account. You guys remember that? So I hope the board will vote to approve these governance policies that will raise the bar on trustees' responsibility in this office, will increase community trust, will improve employees' morale, and will move us closer to becoming a destination district. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go motions. There was at the very beginning, Trustee Dominguez mentioned a motion, and then shortly thereafter, Trustee Barone mentioned a motion. So we'll start with Trustee Dominguez, and then we'll go down the line if necessary.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to motion to approve, hopefully let me get this right, 4.02, however, but to withhold GP3 for separate discussion or action.
Do I have a second to that motion? Trustee Biasotti.
I will second the motion.
Let's vote. Trustee Bustamante Adams?
No.
Motion does not pass. Let's go with Trustee Barone.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I would like to make a motion to accept the notice of intent 4.02 as presented to this board.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Trustee Biasotti? Nope, she removed herself. Trustee Esparza-Stafford?
A second.
Second. Let's vote. Trustee Bustamante Adams?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, that closes us out for 4.02. We will now open 4.03, Notice of Intent, Clark County School District Board of Trustees Governance Policies. Again, I'm not going to read all of these, but these are all of our old policies. This is a notice of intent to repeal. Well, it says we can adopt, repeal, or amend, so we would need a proper motion. But essentially, if we're approving to move forward with the policies that we just voted on, then we would need to repeal these current policies. So is there any discussion on these policies? I see no one in the queue. I don't believe we have, nope, we have nobody in public comment. We do. Mr. Gomez, 4.03, this is about the current policies that we have.
David Gomez, Nevada Peace Alliance president, father of 7 children, business owner, advisor to the city, Vision Zero, and a whole bunch of other things. I read in that big old pamphlet of paper a bunch of strikeouts, but there's no explanation behind the strikeouts or no explanation prior to that. So I just saw a bunch of strikeouts, and I'm asking this because if someone was to pick that up and just see strike, 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 and no explanation, how are they supposed to process the information? So doing things in a policy is not law. Don't get confused. Please do not get confused. It is not the Nevada Revised Statute. And the DA cannot enforce anything other than criminal, just in case you just don't know that. And if you do, I think there's a paralegal institute over here that's willing to take your $6,000 and teach you a little bit. And I don't agree with not having the correct information coexisting together. I understand it will make the pamphlet bigger, a lot of paper, but explaining why there's strikeouts in there. It has to explain. So not everybody's tech savvy. They can't go into the internet and start looking at the little Z and all that other stuff on the CCS board docs. But I think there should be a little bit more explanation in this. And like I said, socialism is not good. And do not get that confused. You're not going to shut a person up from having a free right to speak about matters or things in a policy or about a policy. So I know where this is going. Trust me, I do. I know where it's going, and I know how to look at it. And you can chuckle and laugh all you want, because I don't really care, because I stand on God, and that's all that matters. And if you want to fight him, you're more than welcome to. Take a swing at him. You'll see how fast that ends. The devil learned his lesson. But at the end of the day, I believe that information should, like she said, transparency. Put it in there. Make sure people understand what they're looking at, because not everybody can understand. And we know that because 3 speakers got up here and didn't understand that 3 minutes was 3 minutes, and that's what was timing them. They wanted to speak. So not everybody understands. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I would like to make a motion to approve Agenda Item 4.03, Notice of Intent, Clark County School District Board of School Trustees, Governance Policies.
Trustee Cavazos, you said approve. Do you want to amend your motion to potentially be repeal?
Yes. Let me amend that there. Hold on a second. Did I have the right number?
4.03, yeah.
Okay, so we want to amend that to appeal.
Thank you. We have a motion to repeal the, no,
I think we still have it wrong.
hold on.
No, we did. Hold on.
Approval of the notice of intent to adopt, repeal, or amend. So she's making a motion to repeal. Do we have a second? Trustee Barone.
Second.
Yeah, so she's approving, sorry,
Okay.
for the record, she's approving the notice of intent to repeal these.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I just didn't read the whole thing.
It's
I should have read the second line. I apologize.
It's okay. We've got it on the record.
We've got it.
Trustee Barone?
Yeah, I'm seconding to get rid of it.
Great, let's vote. Trustee Bustamante Adams?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right, before I open, well, that closes 4.03. Before I open 5.01, any public comment cards? All right. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with Miss Cindy Williams. Miss Cindy Williams is not here. Okay. Ms. Julie Hutchinson. Please state your name for the record.
Julie Hutchinson. Good evening, Madam President, board members, and Superintendent Ebert. Currently, 21 school social workers are facing surplus with no open positions. As a school social worker and a member of the School Social Work Association of America, SWA, I intend to present information from SWA to advocate for the necessity in maintaining and hiring highly qualified school social workers as best practice, and to underscore the importance of our roles within the education system. A question that may arise: what constitutes a highly qualified school social worker? To attain this status, an individual must first possess a Master of Social Work, MSW degree from an accredited college or university, successfully pass the master's level social work licensing exam, which consists of 170 questions designed to assess a social worker's competence in practicing ethically and safely by enforcing standards for the practice of social work. If an MSW decides to go further in their profession to become a licensed clinical social worker, an LCSW, then they must complete 3,000 supervised hours and pass an additional clinical license exam. To be employed as a school social worker, a candidate must have had an MSW and also have completed a supervised practicum during their degree program, or possess prior professional experience with a youth-focused setting or agency in order to secure the endorsement license from the NDE, making school social workers duly certified. Duly licensed. Currently within CCSD, there are both MSWs and LCSWs employed. School social workers play a crucial role in creating environments where all students can thrive, using our unique training and expertise to address mental health, trauma, and equity. School social workers are essential in addressing growing challenges in education and ensuring healthier school climates and better educational outcomes by being able to address the whole child from the macro, meso, and micro levels. In addition, we are fierce advocates for addressing opportunity gaps and ensuring fair access to educational opportunities while addressing the systemic and environmental factors that influence student achievement. We serve as essential members of the site-based school teams, the multi-tiered system of supports, MTSS, and we qualify for Medicaid reimbursement. In 35 schools alone, we were able to partner with our school nurses to complete 400 suicide risk assessments. School social workers work from a strengths-based and systems perspectives to address the whole child and identifying barriers such as food insecurity, limited access to mental health care, housing instability, and racial disparities in school discipline, which in all constitutes systemic barriers, not just individual personal hardships. By linking families and students with community agencies that address their basic needs, we empower students to focus on their education rather than worrying about these unmet needs. By addressing these barriers, school social workers institute enduring change benefiting not only individual students, but also entire communities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, we have Amanda McMillan. Amanda McMillan? No? Okay. How about John Drake? Please state your name for the record.
My name is John Drake, and good evening to Madam President, the Board of Trustees, and Madam Ebert. The reason why I came up today is I have a little bit of a problem, and just trying to get some answers because back in December 2024, I was hired as a substitute teacher for the Clark County School District. On January 9th, 2025, almost a month later, I was dismissed before I ever set forth into a school or got a chance to work. When I inquired about why I was dismissed, was told to me that we can, as a school district, terminate anybody for any reason, anytime, anywhere. And I thought I never had this ever happen to me in my entire work life. I am a product of the CCSD. I grew up here in Las Vegas. I went to UNLV, got my degree at UNLV. I have over 40 years experience in the financial and gaming sector, was a CEO, worked for the government. I have a tremendous amount of experience that I could offer to the school district. I'm just befuddled, I guess is the word I'm trying to get at, is why I was dismissed. I have family members, my wife and a sister-in-law, who have less credentials than I do. One doesn't even have a degree. The other one does, and have less work experience than I do. And all I'm trying to do is to try to get some answers to why I was dismissed. I have no criminal record. I have a good work history, have an outstanding credit record. So tonight, I'm looking for some answers. I think I'm justified in getting those answers, given that I went through the whole process and got accepted and an offer letter to the school district. I have documentation here that shows that I had an offer letter, have a termination letter, the dismissal letter, and then I tried to do appeals on it, and I got rejected on top of that. Again, nobody's told me anything why I was terminated or dismissed, and that's what I'm looking for tonight. I'm hoping to get some answers either through the superintendent or you folks. I would really appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, Ms. Atterbury.
All right. Tanya Atterbury for the record. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been here. Got really ill, but better now. I'm just here to remind you guys to continue to work on the transparency of Regulation 6150. Parents should be aware of and included on how library books are selected when there is a challenge. There is some kind of way that parents can be included in how the books are actually even being picked, so that they're aware of what's on the shelves. So that's that. Social media is talking about this walkout on May 1st. I just wanted to say that hopefully kids are not walking off campus during school hours. If it's before or after, great. But it's all over social media. The adults are talking about it. There's education people that are talking about it online. I just want to make sure that kids are safe, and that if it's going to happen on May 1st, please be before school or after school, not during school hours. I did want to say that the young lady that was talking about her faith and that the school was promoting a positive attitude about it was really quite refreshing. I've been hearing a lot about Regulation 6124, and teachers are being actually targeted and being told that they can't have things on their walls, or they can't have any, like a cross on their neck or anything that has to do with religious or conservative values. So if that is the case, then I think there's a problem with using Regulation 6124 against people and targeting people that are conservative or religious. I would be nice to see that comments like the poster is not in alignment with CCSD policies. There have been several posters that we've had to remove that have had questionable things on them. So these are being posted to kids who are making posters, and obviously they may have a reference to God, or they may have a reference to the Bible, or they may have a reference to something. If they're being told to take down their posters, then there is no there's no diversity, equity, or inclusion because it should be both sides. It should be all. We should be able to see conservative, religious, democratic, liberal views all over the schools. And if you're only seeing one side, or if you're only seeing a group of kids that are allowed to post their stuff, but then you have another group over here that are being told take their stuff down, it's controversial, or it's not wanted, then those kids also feel unwanted. So I think there should be a fairness when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion if you're going to keep continuing to have us be trained on it. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Heckler.
I keep coming back because everybody needs a heckler. For the record, Jeremy Heckler, and I have the honor of serving as the president of NEA of Southern Nevada. I'm here to speak to you about the worries of educators, teachers, and support staff. As the calendar ticks towards the end of the school year, many are worried about if they will have a job next year, where they will have that job, and is it all worth it? Over the past few weeks, the involuntary transfer process, surplus, has been ongoing for teachers and support staff. Though not a representative of the bargaining unit, I have heard of the concerns of teachers who wonder if this process will end with them in the unemployment line, even through the promises of others. One employee received a notice of surplus over spring break. This employee was offered a position at his home site, but no specifics. 2 days before surplus, the employee was notified that he did not qualify for the position, and both he and the position will go to surplus. Of course, there were no positions available at surplus, and he is now without a position, and the position is left unfilled. To further muddy the issue, HR would not allow the site principal to switch a teacher to the vacant position prior to spring break and allow the surplus employee to take the other position. So the surplus employee accepted the position without knowing what it was. Fast forward to the week of surplus. Upon being told he did not qualify for the position title changed to make it more specific to a certain type of employee or endorsement, thereby limiting who could fill the position. Now, we often get emails that show us how many teachers left the district the previous year, as though prior performance indicates future results. Trust has not been entirely restored for many who have worked for CCSD, who have been used to half-truths and broken promises. You can't boast about being transparent when people still ask where the money is going. I want you to understand the concerns of these educators. Be willing to look at things as more than just numbers and engage with them. I urge you to look ahead. Realize that an extra $2 per student won't get us through the next 2 years and help us move forward in a way that isn't continuously punishing the teachers and support staff that are vital to the lives of our students. Our education system shouldn't be a continual carrot and stick process where everyone needs to be hit with the proverbial stick in order to be fed. Finally, I want you all to really look at our schools. Really look into the nuts and bolts of what makes them vital parts of our community. See if these schools will continue to be able to step in for all you and our community ask them to do as we slowly strip away the parts due to lack of funding. Can our students thrive on the bare minimum? Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Ms. Valdez.
Hi again, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert. My name is Stephanie Valdez. I live in Las Vegas, District E. I'm a parent of 3 CCSD students. I appreciate, especially having been in the district for a very long time, I appreciate that over the past year, the district has increased their communication with the community like tenfold, like almost as much as Paul Catania does at our elementary school, right? And you know what I'm talking about. And offered many opportunities for feedback through surveys and engagement events. Sometimes it is difficult to feel like our voices are valued when after receiving our input, the board, the district makes decisions that are completely different from it. Like given what happened with school calendars and school start times, some wonder if the surveys and events were just to make the community feel like we're involved, but the board and the district will just do what they want. And if that's not the case, I hope you'll do more to not just tell, but show the community that their voices matter. It's been hard to reconcile the cost of changing school start times with the cost of the buses. It's going to be like $20 million throughout the next year based on my math. And not just because there was a free option, but also because schools have to keep cutting hundreds of thousands of dollars, even over $1 million from their budget, cutting positions and programs. Like, I don't know if you know, but I keep having teachers tell me, like, we are cutting art. We can't offer these languages. I don't understand why these keep getting cut, and why there aren't solutions, like, at least being sought to avoid that. It's disrupting the school community of students, families, and staff, and it's increasing class sizes. Even if those costs for changing the school start times don't come from the same budget, because I understand there may be different buckets, the optics aren't great. And this year, there's been 2 surplus and 1 reduction in force so far, another one pending. Teachers got strung along with the salary review and adjustment, the 5K for special ed and Title I teachers. Educators shouldn't have to have 2 jobs just to survive. Schools shouldn't have to fundraise hundreds of thousands of dollars just to offset budget cuts, so they can retain their staff and keep the class sizes low and to ensure the best possible educational environment for their students. Some schools cannot do that. And it's not fair that some schools have to do that, you know? So staff morale, community trust have been low, and I hope you'll do more to make a greater effort to improve those, and because they're a crucial element to becoming a destination district. We all want that for our district. That's why we are all here tonight. And so I hope you will do more to move that forward, especially with the community. Thank you.
Thank you. To close us out, Mr. Gomez.
David Gomez, for the record, Nevada Peace Alliance president. Being a person of continuous education with the Department of Homeland Security and DHS and everything else and Red Cross, I have more than 90 certificates that prove that I can do anything that they need me to do. I'm a rapid response team for our church and the whole state. I do a lot of things. And I volunteer to do a lot of things. But one thing I do see is that being in public, I'm not afraid of my people that live around me in East Las Vegas. I'm not terrified because there's people in there with bad choices and bad decisions. They always make bad decisions. People do make bad decisions. And I'm not afraid because they go around shooting at each other for whatever God knows what reason, which is inappropriate whatsoever. But I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them. I don't move into positions to be in the public, to be afraid of people. If you're afraid of people, don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you. Because obviously, you're in the wrong position if you're afraid of people and afraid of your constituents that have a lot of words to say at times. And they put you in the spot. Let's talk about Cram. Mr. Mumford was trying to get an apartment across the street from Clark High School. They didn't want to rent to him because of his color of his skin. Mr. Cram went over there and told them, listen, if you do not rent to this man, I will sue you. I will make sure you get sued. And did he move in those apartments? Yes, he did. Cram wasn't afraid. He was one of, I think, the longest standing superintendents. Why? Because he didn't run behind cowardness. The Bible tells us what cowards get in the end, in Revelations. If you don't need me to tell you, look it up. Then I want to go back to NRS 386.350. The DA, state government, do not approve CCSD policy under that NRS. The Board of Trustees has independent power to create its own rules provided they do not conflict with the Nevada Constitution. Can't make rules up and tell the government to actually go and enforce this. You can't do that. So I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you think you're doing. And then putting a gag order on people's mouth because they have a public opinion about something, that's an individual. Each voted up member up here was voted by constituents, not voted by a policy, not voted by the DA, but voted by constituents. So you answer to them, not to a board.
Thank you. That concludes what is that? What is that, 5? That includes 5. 5.0, I'm staring right at it. Sorry. That'll move us on to 6.01, upcoming meeting announcements. We have our next meeting, Board of Trustees, Wednesday, May 6, 2026 at 4 p.m. We are ready to adjourn. Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Let's vote. Trustee Irene Bustamante Adams.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.